Is rising. Only 2 cars left in the pit lane before we have a full grid. Take a look up to the lights, then we'll see the countdown coming on. It's going to count down. 5 seconds. Season 3, race 1 is under starter's orders. Lights down. EERC is go, go, go. It's a good start from Richard. The captain tries to keep the inside line down towards Bell. Look at Mike Bell. Coming up right round the outside. In towards Cox Corner. A spectacular move. Oh, big rest. And that's really awful. Into the bollard then. But Hamilton swings it round the
Hello and welcome back to Brands Hatch for the 5th round of Season 5 of the EERC British Touring Car Championship. It is the week before Christmas, and here we are again, not at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, but at the full Grand Prix circuit with 20 cars looking to do battle in the final event of the season, but it's not a normal ERC British Touring Car event. This is going to be a double length first race with a pit stop, a mandatory pit stop for all cars, followed by race 2, which will take the format of the typical race 3 with randomized weather and a reverse grid, of course. So lots to look forward to. My name is Edward Hunter, by the way. Joining me in the commentary box is a man full of festive cheer, Mr. Nick Homewood, who will be driving our safety car tonight. And on broadcast direction, it is the one, the only, the happy little elf, Pascal Leggett. So
Could have given the safety car a red nose, shouldn't I?
Maybe, yeah. I think the only person who's remotely thought about the holiday season before today is is Thomas Rashke with his ducking fast livery, which is the snowman and all the snow on it, isn't it? It's got that very.
Yep.
It looks like a Milky Way candy bar or something.
Just give him the little glasses for him to wear while he's driving around. He can be the Milky Bar kid.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know why that was the first one that came to mind. But, yeah, a galaxy of terror then in store for our drivers here at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Much faster than the Indy Loop, of course. With instead of rejoining McLaren and Clark Curve and skipping the Grand Prix circuit, we instead go all the way to the left at Surtees, down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorne Bend, along the Derek Minter Straight through the right-hander of Westfield and Dingledell just after, which infamously is where people try and go side by side and often end up taking each other out, through Sheen's Curve, through Sterling's Bend, the left-hander, which also very, very tricky, easy to spin the rear tyres through there, down to Clearways, and then finally rejoining the main part of the track at Clark Curve. So that's the main differences you've got to keep in mind from what we've seen before, as we see Noah Tuomela starting his qualifying lap. He's looked very, very strong in practice, of course. Had a bit of a disappointing time at the Indy Loop. Got one podium in race 2 in 3rd. But otherwise, Noah, KV86 as a team as well, have started to see the championship slip out of their fingers, haven't they? Luckily, of course, he's a few places low down in the points, so he doesn't have quite as much ballast as he did last week.
He's P2. He's still got 66 kilos.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually more than before.
Yeah. And you've got Carl Magnus Bore, who's driving in place of Brody Lawless. He's got 75 kilos. And then you've got Thailand. I think Thailand doesn't have any ballast, so they're not doing well there.
Yeah, I think Fun's 12th, so he's him and Mark Horvath both on 43 points. So Thailand, having missed a few races, has dropped down the order. So last driver with ballast is Oliver Hargeto's got just 9 kilograms as well. So that is good news for at least one of the Hunter Birches, of course, with Hargitay also being promoted up to 2nd in race 3 due to the ballast kiss hitting Bradley Sellers under the safety car, which I think we missed during the stream, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it, but if you hit someone under a safety car, you're getting a penalty. So, slam dunk.
There we go. Noah Tuomela drives towards the line. Can he beat Alan Axon's time? 1:29.02. No, he cannot. I think he's fallen just 89 thousandths short there. But a very, very good final sector from his teammate Luca Phelan as well. 22.3. There's Luca Gray, despite having 75 kilograms on board the 56, Hunter Birch Simulation Honda Civic. He goes 2nd, or 1:29.046. So good to see Luca Gray, who sadly missed last week, back on top, as Oliver Hargitay now goes fastest. So all of a sudden, this is looking much more encouraging for the Honda Civic around the Grand Prix circuit. It seems that with the faster corners added in, we've finally got a track that somewhat plays a bit more to its strengths, as Tim Neuendorf gets the Toyota onto the front of the grid with a blistering first sector, 41.8, to go almost 2/10 clear of Oliver Hargitay.
You've got a few more considerations, obviously, going into the race with the pit stop, which tyre do you start on, which tyre do you run second, you have to use 2 compounds during the race. There is also the chance of rain. I'm watching the radar right now, and it's just inches away from Brands Hatch. So rain is possible. That could mix it up. There's a lot of things to think about going into this special format.
And there is Ballast Kiss, championship leader, back on top. Remember, he leads Noto Mella by quite a long way as well in the points. About 25 points, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it? Or is it 27? 131 or 104.
Yep. Obviously the drop score, though, so that's not entirely representative, potentially.
Is that with drop scores applied from the first 4 events then?
No, so the drop score will only be applied at the last race.
Okay, so
yeah.
So it's not applied to the standings. So right, okay, that is interesting. So Ballast Kiss with 75 kilograms of ballast has gone on pole, a 10th ahead of Lucas Filin, who of course Filin has got no ballast whatsoever. Tim Neuendorf, of course, won here a week ago, didn't he? In race 2, if I'm not mistaken, or was it race 3?
No, I don't think he did quite. It was close. But,
yeah, he got 2 second places, didn't he? And he won at Zandvoort a couple of weeks earlier, didn't he? So he's 4th in the championship, 48 kilograms of ballast. He is currently, was when I started that sentence. Where's he gone? He's on pole position, isn't he? He's just gone to the top of the times. There we go, 128.341. But impressive from Tim Neuendorf there. He certainly lost none of the pace that he showed earlier. He was on pole, wasn't he, last week as well, for the first
He
race.
was, and he'll be kicking himself because he then got stuck behind Kiss for 2 whole races.
He did, yeah. It really shows how crucial the start can be as Noto Mella now down to 7th, struggling to get on top of Luca Gray, who is 44 thousandths ahead of him at the present moment. It's very, very tight from 5th onwards all the way down to James Ten Lure, in 9th. Ten Lure, who is filling in the second of the point scoring 100 simulation cars because we weren't sure if Luca Gray was going to show up or not. So we're probably going to rue that decision. But to be fair, it's a sort of situation where you're just lucky if any of the drivers show up, apart from Oliver Hargitay, who always shows up. So, and we had a driver that got banned that we found out only about 2.5 hours before practice started. So
you're not doing too well on your drivers at the minute, are you? After Zandvoort?
No, but well, to be fair, it does help to have a little bit more notice that we need a new driver. We're lucky that Ten Lure offered because I actually got a message like 15 minutes before the start of qualifying from Lloyd Moynihan. He's like, "Oh, can I drive the fair car if Luca doesn't show up?" And it's like, "Well, A, Luca has shown up, and B, you can't really offer to drive. Even if you're your best driver ever, you can't sign up 15 minutes before qualifying starts. That's just kind of not fair on the rest of the grid as well. Even though we were a little bit late to sign up anyway because there was only really a week between.
Yeah, it's all a bit rushed for today, but it's 3 weeks for the next one, so you can have a holiday.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to either have a bit more notice or to have the ban postponed a bit or given us an opportunity because we didn't even have an opportunity to protest against it. We knew there was a 15-place group penalty for Magnus. But to be fair, I think Magnus was sort of on the fence about coming back anyway. So, anyway, 2 minutes to go. Neuendorf leads Ballast Kiss by 2.5 tenths. Lucas Filin is 3rd. Oliver Hargitay is 4th, of course, after finishing 2nd last time out here at the Indy circuit. Alan Axon continues his impressive form, 6 thousandths behind Oliver Hargitay. In 5th as Bradley Sellers gets up to 7th. There we go. Important lap for the Rookie Monsters driver as he does a massive 4-wheel drift through Paddock Hill Bend there.
Yep. So pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah, not much to choose. Ballast Kiss, fastest in the middle sector, cuts the gap to Tim Neuendorf to 1/10 and 800ths of a second, essentially. So 0.187. is the current gap, but I think with that ballast that Ballast Kiss is lugging around, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to out-qualify Tim Neuendorf, who's going even faster behind Juan the Hunter Birches, who gets well out of the way as I think that's was that Juan the Finn of Ons, just dipping it in the gravel as well, coming out of Dingledale there.
Dingledale, great corner name.
I think Dingledale is a little kink just before, and Sheen Curve is the actual right-hander that's sort of 90 degrees or so. But anyway, towards the line, comes Tim Noondorf, a little bit slower in the middle sector, but very good in the first sector. He lowers the bar even further, 128.1. That puts him 4/10 clear at Balasquez, and surely that's enough for pole position because I don't see anybody else going anywhere near as fast at the moment.
That's extremely impressive. He's got ballast as well, so yeah, very impressive.
There we go. Tim Noondorf working his way into championship contention on 90 points at the moment. Just 10 behind Adam Zux, of course. So keep your eyes on the young German then as Staffan Nilsson going through the final corner. Good to see Staffan return, the Super Swede, after a long absence from the British Touring Car Championship, but only good enough for 20th. So he has out-qualified you, Nick. Despite so he got a lap in, I guess. So
I'm not allowed to qualify, unfortunately.
That's very true. Last stint racing, not last, finally, by virtue of setting a lap there. As Luca Filin able to close the gap to Balasquez ever so slightly, but 0.081 behind Balasquez then. So a little bit of time left to find as one of the 100 Birches dips it in the gravel. I think that was Luca Gray there. But here comes Schoenemann, winner of race 3, wasn't he, with that late decision to switch at the last minute to wet tyres in the very damp race 3, a chaotic race 3. And Schumann, we know he's not going to complete this lap because he's decided to downshift rapidly into neutral and then blow up the engine.
Traditions.
Yeah, which, funnily enough, I was commentating on an endurance race at Istanbul last Saturday, and there was a driver that did that completely by accident in the championship-leading Simframe hypercar, Danilo Smeriglio. He's one of the less experienced drivers in that team, and that was a race where basically only 2 of the hypercars finished, so a lot of points they lost in that by retiring. And
as Knox goes up to second, sorry.
Oh, there we go. So James Knox, who we saw impressed, has put in a late effort to go second fastest there for Dalma Auto Racing in the number 7. And James Knox, who got a couple of top 6s, was quite fortunate to stay out of trouble and had some good drive, good performances. Has now qualified onto the front row right behind Tim Noondorf there. So that's a bit of a spanner in the works for our championship leader, Balasquez, because he's no longer on the front row.
So in the top 6, we've got 6 different teams and 5 different cars.
Anyway, let's go through the order. Tim Noondorf takes pole position for the second race in a row for pot race set ahead of James Knox, his best ever qualifying for Dalma. Of course, no ballast on board James Knox's car, unlike his previous attempt there. So the young Briton impressing there and looking to try and steal the win from Tim Noondorf, who's got a lot more ballast than he does. Maximum ballast on board our championship leader, Balasquez, though. He starts 3rd, just ahead of Lucas Filin, one of his title rivals. Alan Axon qualifies 5th, just ahead of Oliver Hargitide, and it's Luca Gray returning from a race absence in 7th. Noah Toemella is going to start our first race from 8th. Bradley Sellers will start in 9th, with Connor Knight in 10th. In 11th, it's Ten Lewitt in the 3rd and final Hunter Birch simulation car. Thomas Raschke will start 12th, ahead of Adam Zux. Disappointing qualifying for Adam Zux there in the 2nd of the Simcoes, down in 13th. Francisco Perez starts 14th for Finnevond White. Then it's Carl Magnus Boré. Late call up to KV86 powerhouse ahead of Peter Schoenemann. Maxime Boulieu is qualifying 17th of the Canadian for Optiminal Esports. Good to see Optiminal back on the grid, with Peter Noondorf in 18th, a long way behind his son. Staffan Nilsson, 19th on his first appearance in a while. Stanislas Pajal, 20th, rounding out the top 20. And that is everybody. So, yeah, Staffan Nilsson, I think this is his first appearance since last season as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or did he show up in Zandvoort and I forgot about it?
No, he was there was... I think it might have been Laguna Seca was his last appearance. A very notable one. I'm sure he'd be happy to tell you all about it. That was a bit of a crash.
There we go. So, but it's nonetheless good to have standby Staffan back in the starting lineup.
Always good to have Staffan in the lineup.
Yep, and of course it would be nice to have him helping out with the stewards room as well, as he used to do. But but of course he just wants to have some fun out there, and let's hope he doesn't do it at anybody else's expense. But there is our championship leader, Balasquez. 75 kilograms of ballast. He could just about hold on to the lead and take the win in the first race at Brands Hatch Indy. But not only has he got the GP circuit with a few more overtaking opportunities, Nick, he's also got the format, the much longer race with to lug that ballast around in, and he's got to be clever when it comes to tactics here.
Yes. So let me check the weather, see if that's doing anything interesting. There is rain around, and the weather forecast says rain for about now. So.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So on the weather radar, there's the dot for Brands Hatch, and then there is rain very close by, and then a lot of rain quite soon after that. So we'll see how it, because we've only got one race today that has the live weather. Granted, it's a long race. It's going to be a different dynamic to usual.
There we go. So we could see a lot of drivers starting on the softs at the beginning of this first race, and then switching to wets in the hope that it rains. Or we might see somebody gamble on the mediums to try and go a bit longer, and then switch to wets later if it rains a bit later on. Might not rain at all, of course.
It might not rain
and
at
then
all.
You might want to save your softs for race 2, which is essentially race 3, given that it's a double-length first race.
Connor Knight, who is local to the track, has just put a message in the chat saying it's raining and outside his window. So,
okay, interesting.
Yeah, do you take the softs and hope it rains quickly? Do you take the mediums and hope it rains later in the race when everyone on the softs already made their stop? Or do you hope it doesn't rain at all? It's yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, also you might see people trying to undercut each other as well by potentially starting on the softs and then going for the mediums as early as possible without knowing that they can get the mediums to the end, at least.
Yep. You only got to make one pit stop. So it's 22 laps. You can.
Will you be able to refuel at the pit stops as well?
You can if you want. Yep. If you take the hard, there's nothing to stop you doing the whole race and then stopping on the last lap for soft if that's what you wanted to do. But it's going to be interesting to see how the tyres last and if the weather does play into it. If we get a safety car as well, that would change the what's needed.
Exactly. So then, very exciting double-length first race. A nice early Christmas present for you all, I guess. Ahead of the first encounter here at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Of course, after this, we've still got our 2025 rounds to go. Norris Ring on the 8th of January. Donington Park on the 22nd of January. Mid-Ohio on the 5th of February. It's a little bit out of the way. Again, the United States. And then finally, our season finale is Salzburg Ring on the 19th of February, of course. All those are the standard format. As we see, one of the KV86 is getting it very, very wrong. Just there to Maxime Beaulieu.
Yeah, that scared him a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, Maxime just going off track almost in sympathy there at the exit of Sterling's. And now deciding to do a bit of lawnmower racing temporarily as Bradley Sellers arrives sideways at Clearways there. Quite spectacular from Bradley Sellers, as we come to expect, to be honest. He certainly has had a lot of fun so far this season. Bradley Sellers,
Yeah.
where is he in the championship? I think he's
P7 or somewhere?
P8, isn't he? 78 points, so just a point behind Luke Mitchell. As there we go. Oh, looks dry.
It'll take a second just to sort itself out.
Looks dry on the timing screen as well. Oh, 17 degrees, 13 degrees, 11 degrees Celsius now.
There we go.
That's more like the winter chill we've come to expect. It won't snow in R Factor 2, will it?
No, it'll just be a really cold rain.
Can see Thomas Rashke's Christmas livery in the background there. I wonder what he's going to do for January. He's just going to keep it as like people who don't bother taking Christmas decorations down. Because he put it on very, very early in December.
He's in the Christmas spirit.
That's true. I'm just glad I don't have to go to Chris's party tonight, because I went to one with a bunch of scout leaders on Saturday. I played shuffleboard as well. I was horrible at it. And then we did the Beavers and Cubs Christmas party on Monday and last night as well. So that's like 4 days with 3
Here we
Christmas
go.
parties.
That's
Anyway,
great.
here we go. The party's about to begin then with Tim Noondorf on the inside, James Knox alongside him. Off we go. And it's a brilliant getaway for James Knox, but even better one for Ballast Kisses. Noondorf has failed to get away from the line in the lead once again as they all swarm into Paddock Hill Bend. Then all the Hunter Birches is hoping not to hit each other as they go uphill into Druids then. But it's James Knox in his second event in EERC British Touring Cars that leads away from Tim Noondorf, then Ballast Kiss in third. Hargitai's made a good start to get past Luca Filin into 4th place. Then it's Axon, Luca Gray, and a collision behind. I think that's Sellers and Tuomela that have come together. Disaster for Noah Tuomela, especially as James Knox gets very, very side through Surtees. And now Noondorf is going to try and retake the lead that he has been unable to maintain on these first laps then, but he's going to have to go round the outside as they go through Pilgrim's Drop and towards Hawthorns. Surely James Knox is not going to make it easy for him.
Once again, race 1 proving to be fairly clean off the line. We're not expecting that to repeat in race 3, or race 2 as it is, but yeah, good opening lap.
Looks like Luca Gray got caught up in the chaos as well, so Sellers, Tuomela and Luca Gray all losing a lot of positions there as Peter Schumann and Maxim Budu fight over 13th position through the middle sector there. But look at, I think that's the top 5, all just bunched together. A little mistake from Hargitai out of Sterling's. So that is going to allow Luca Filin to have a little nip at him around the outside through the final corner. But Oliver Hargitai holding him at bay then. It's very, very black roof on the Hunter Birch, I think, for this round. Is that a change, Nick, or is that always been the case?
It's something to do with the the dark weather doesn't help, but the faders on the track are a little bit broken, I think.
Okay, there we go. So it's not a special Christmas livery. It is just the shaders. So I guess we're thankful we're not putting gold on the car this season.
Yeah,
the Goldtacular team.
Pascal's computer will be on fire right now.
Yeah, there we go. That's one of the reasons why I let you design the liveries. Look at this. Luca Filin is really pushing behind Oliver Hargitai. Hargitai's got a lot less ballast, but there we go. Up the inside, you can see what tyres they're all running. Sadly, though it does actually show it on the timing screen. So James Knox is on the mediums. Neuendorf, Kiss, and Filin all started on the softs. Hargitai's on the mediums, which is why Filin's been able to just squeeze back past him as they get sideways at Hawthorns. And then behind Hargitai, it's Axon on the mediums. Adam Zux is on the soft. So Zux qualified 13th. He's made it up to 7th. So very good start from Adam Zux. Connor Knight is 8th on the mediums. Carl Magnus Bore 9th on the softs. Francisco Perez and pretty much everyone behind him is also on the mediums, with the exception of Sellers, Nilsson, and Tuomela, of course.
So James Knox on the mediums just needs to hang on until we get to the pit stop. Obviously, he's going to be under pressure now.
Good move there from Schunemann getting past Ten Lua around the outside at Sterling's. So that was a bold pass, as well as Rashke is now all over the back of Stanislas Pajoud in the Finovond green. So the two Finovonds trying to sandwich the Christmas livery of Thomas Rashke. And you see Ten Lua, who got a very, very late call-up, essentially, offered his services very, very late in the day. And look at this, all Tuomela starting to glitch out there because it briefly showed him in the lead. So that's no change there for Tuomela's internet connection. Oh, and Ten Lua has hit the back of Peter Schumann and gone straight on at Druid's corner. And that's the second week in a row that the Hunter Birch has hit the back of someone into Druid's. At least Peter Schumann,
just what
much luckier.
Lua and Gray take each other out as well. So.
Oh dear, Ten Lua not making himself popular there. I think it was a mistake to let him in that car. There we go. James Knox still leading by 0.2 of a second. We might have to actually bench Ten Lua mid-race there just to stop him from hitting anybody.
Peugeot had a great start. He's qualified right at the back. He's up to P11.
Yeah, there we go. I think he's one of the ones on the softs, isn't? No, he isn't. He's on the mediums. So there we go. He's just behind Carl Magnus Bore, another driver that got a very, very late call-off. I think he offered to drive for us and then decided to drive the third KV86 at the last minute. Filin, by the way, setting purple middle sectors right behind Ballast Kiss. So Kiss may well look a little bit concerned here because he's keeping Neuendorf in touch, but Neuendorf is all over the back of James Knox, as you can see, making good use of the soft tyres. But James Knox, it must be said, has defended extremely well on the mediums.
Neuendorf's got an overlap.
Oh, here we go. Neuendorf up the inside into Druids. It's almost going to be free wide as Balasquez desperately tries not to hit the back of them. But Tim Nundorf muscles his way through, and James Knox is going to find himself still on the inside into Graham Hill Bend. He refuses to yield in that Cupra, but the Toyota of James Knox, Tim Nundorf, sorry, trying to go around the outside at Surtees there. Balasquez has a front row seat. He's going to try and take advantage as James Knox holds on by the skin of his teeth. And gets, turns across a little bit across the bow of Tim Nundorf there. And Nundorf's starting to look really frustrated here. This must feel like a bit of a PTSD flashback to last week.
But at least now he has got... he's got an overlap again, has he?
Here we go into Westfield Bend, and he's got the inside this time. Off track almost goes James Knox, and through goes Balasquez as well. So Kiss takes advantage on round. Goes Balasquez, and the championship leader's in the wall there. And he's going to be very, very annoyed with James Knox there as Knox retakes second position, just about slots ahead of Luca Filan there. But that is a huge, huge disaster for Balasquez there.
I think there was just watch the replay on my end. I don't think there was much Knox could have done. It looked like Kiss moved over on him in the braking zone a bit.
So Kiss was going back to the racing line, maybe.
Yeah, and it didn't look like he was fully clear. But we'll look at it properly after the race.
Oh, well, we're going to see a replay of something or other here, and it looks like it's what we've just seen then. Yeah, there we go. I think a little bit hard to tell from the off-board, but from the on-board. Yeah, Balasquez up the inside. Oh, yeah, you can tell he wasn't quite clear. I thought he was a bit further ahead there, but that is a shame. Balasquez has got going again in 16th position, just ahead of Ten Lure. Or I say 1.6 seconds ahead, but we go back to live then, and this is Peter Schoenemann dueling away with Noah Tuomela there, who of course got forced aside at Graham Hill Bend on the first lap in a collision with Bradley Sellers, wasn't it? Bradley Sellers has made it back up to 12th. Here's James Knox still defending on mediums, but Tim Nundorf has now been able to well and truly make hay. As look at this filing going this way and that to try and cut underneath James Knox, and Knox starting to defend very aggressively here as they go through Derek Minter straight and into Westfield Bend.
Obviously, Knox is going to have the advantage that they've got later in the race.
Tuomela up the inside, fully alongside there through Dingledale, but refusing to yield is James Knox, and Tuomela has to go to the outside. Oliver Hargitay is watching this, licking his lips, looking for a second podium in a row here as he tucks in right behind Luca Filan. Then Filan getting very, very aggressive. Him and Hargitay have had a few good duels before, so we got the local hero, James Knox, versus Luca Filan, the Super Swede, and Oliver Hargitay, the Hungarian. Late braking into Paddock Hill Bend for James Knox, but he somehow is able to just about hold off Filan. Filan now being backed into Hargitay here. Hargitay being backed into Adam Zux, who's gotten past Connor Knight and up into the top 5. Now Adam Zux is the lead Simco, looking to regain at least some pride and get one of the Simcos onto the podium here. So the Hungarians are not out of the picture by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, we got this is classic touring car racing, isn't it? I love it.
Mostly clean, I guess. But yeah, Oliver Hargitay, I think I'm just watching this and thinking how long until Hargitay either makes a mistake or gets taken out by somebody, because that seems to be the way things go for us in these. The longer the race is, the more chance for something to go wrong, as they say. So let's see. But Tim Nundorf is just pulling away at the moment, setting fastest sectors of the race, one after the other. He's 5 seconds now ahead of James Knox, who's seriously holding up Luca Filan. Filan needs to get through now for the sake of his race, and he's certainly trying to, braking late into Dingledale and Sheen's Curve, and he's gotten through. The KV86 is up to second position there. That was a very clean move there, Nick.
Yeah, you got to do it. That's how you got to do it, Brent. You got to set it up from several corners before, and he did that to perfection, really. But Knox is taking the pain now, and he'll have the advantage later with the softer tyres. Yeah,
Hargitay also on the mediums as well. So this is a fight to be the lead medium runner between Knox and Hargitay, but Zux is also catching very, very quickly. He's made very good use of those softs to gain quite a lot of positions, hasn't he? He's gained about 7 places from where he started on the grid. And don't forget, Carl Magnus Bore in the second of our KV86s is in 7th, also on the softs and starting to close in as well.
Yeah, Bore 75 kilos, of course, for being a substitute driver.
Yep, of course. Hargitay with only 9 kilograms and James Knox with, I think, none whatsoever after having gotten through it last time out, hasn't he? So should be very evenly matched between Hargitay and Knox on the same compound tyre, with only 9 kilograms of ballast between them, of course. Although Hargitay will be wishing he didn't have that when he's going down the long Pilgrim's drop here, especially with Adam Zooks starting to put pressure on him. So this is a bit of a Malcolm in the middle situation for Oliver Hargitay here.
It's Luca Gray. He hasn't got a rear wing.
Oh dear. So Gray, bad luck continuing after he got taken out at Zandvoort by Luca Violin. No to Amela. There's Hargitay getting very, very sideways indeed and completely off track through Sheen Curve there as he rejoins just ahead of Sterling's. So that shows you just how much Hargitay is absolutely wringing the neck of these mediums, and even the mediums are starting to lose a bit of grip at this phase. 7 laps in.
Usually we'd be at 3/4 of the race done, but we're not even at halfway yet. We're 2/3 of the way, 1/3 of the way through.
Connor Knight also has had a few off-track moments as well, so I think maybe the Hondas is a tricky front-wheel drive car to learn, isn't it? At certain points. But,
the only BTCC car I've never driven.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why my drivers were so keen to use it. Rashke, another of our Hondas, now defends against Bradley Sellers. Bradley Sellers trying to take 9th position, and he does so. Very little defense put up from the Christmas car of Thomas Rashke there. As you look at Peter Schumann, he's trying to get into the top 13 as well against Peter Neuendorf in the second of the pot races, but it's his son and teammate Tim Neuendorf who is currently in a commanding lead, trying to make the best use of those soft tyres as well. We'll have to look at the lap times. 1:29.6 for Neuendorf, 1:29.1 for Luca Violin, who has gotten past James Knox, of course, in recent history on his soft tyres. So it'd be interesting to see if Violin decides to try and undercut Neuendorf, because that's surely got to be his best chance of gaining track position here.
So the other thing I didn't mention about this race, you've got the bonus points usually for fastest lap, leading a lap, and pole position. Those are also doubled for this race, so it's a double points race. But if you're leading lap,
big score for Neuendorf then.
Yeah, if you lead a lap, you're getting 2 points. If you get fastest lap, you get 2 points. He's already got the 2 points for pole, so if he wins this and gets the fastest lap, he could get 56 points.
And that makes this battle crucial as well, because once Neuendorf and Violin pit off of the softs onto the mediums, Knox or Hargitay will be the driver leading at the present moment then. So there is a bit of advantage to be had here, but look at Hargitay absolutely starting to pressurize James Knox. Maybe a bit of that inexperience for Knox showing. Hargitay, bit of a hardened veteran, has done at least 3 full seasons here for Thunderbird Simulation and has won a couple of races too. So Knox, amazing qualifying. Now this is where we really start to see his mettle well and truly tested as Hargitay climbs the curbs. Then Alan Axon, interestingly, who's I think pit for soft tyres, he has set the fastest first sector, 41.9. Luca Gray has gone a lap down, so Tim Neuendorf has gotten past, and Hargitay is getting very, very close then as they go down Pilgrim's Drop to the back of James Knox here. He will have to surprise him because the ballast will be ever so slightly holding him back here. You see Knox really starting to claw to the inside, trying to stop any move. But here comes Hargitay, getting very, very close then through the Westfield Bend and towards Dingle Dell. He's got the overlap. Surely Oliver Hargitay is going to get himself onto the podium, and he does so. A very, very superb move there from Oliver Hargitay, if I do say so myself, knowing that he is one of my drivers. And look at Knox going wide here. Here comes the Simcoe of Adam Zooks immediately pouncing. He's not hanging around here, and Adam Zooks gets himself up into 4th place. Crucial move for the Hungarian.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Well, you need to be careful there. If you're losing a position, you don't get sort of filtered off to the side of the track, because that's what happens to Knox, and then Duke comes straight through. So 2 in 1 for Knox. Yeah, Knox. Maybe 3.
And now Connor Knight also on the medium, starting to challenge him here as Bradley Sellers continues his rise. The 77 of Peugeot just goes almost into the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend, and very, very easy, as you like, for Bradley Sellers. There's the action continues behind, with Ballast Kiss surviving that huge hit with the wall. He's gotten back up to 12th, right behind Noah Tuamela, his championship rival, interestingly enough. But Kiss, I think that steering is looking a little bit damaged, because he is really, really having to fight to gain these places.
Tuamela
has got 75 kilograms of ballast too, for good measure.
Tuamela's been warned for his connection lag as well, because as you can see, he's disappearing and reappearing, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, this is scary for Ballast Kiss immediately behind, because if that connection dropped briefly in front of him, then he could have a car lagging into the front of him, and he could have another collision. This time, one that's more fatal to his chances in this race. And with the extra points on offer, he can't really afford to let them slip. He's got to limit the damage that the likes of Neuendorf, Pfeilen, and Hargitay could potentially do to him in this championship race. Then Hargitay has dropped about 4 seconds behind Luca Pfeilen with all that battling going on. And Luca Pfeilen still about 5.5 seconds behind Tim Neuendorf here. So Neuendorf looking very, very good at the present moment as here comes Balaskis again looking to the outside. Cuts underneath and almost hits the grass. Oh, that's bold and brave from Balaskis as he tries to take 10th position. He's got the inside line here, Nick. And yeah, there was not a lot of space left by Noah Tuomela there as Thomas Raschke goes into the pit lane.
It's obviously going to be scary trying to overtake a car that's fading in and out of existence a bit as well.
Yeah, there we go. That's not really Tuomela's fault. There's not a whole lot he can do about that at this phase. He's got to just attach the aerial to his router and hope that it holds there in Sweden. But Thomas Raschke then is going to switch to the medium tyre, I believe, from the softs. So this is going to put him behind Maxime Boudiot and Alan Axon as well, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to be near the back, isn't he? I'm just going on for the live timing. Because I was thinking if Axon went onto the soft that early, he's going to struggle. That's a long way to go.
It does say 0% chance of rain at the moment. So those who went for the mediums could well be looking good at this phase. Let's look at the lap times. Oliver Hargitay 130.5. The two leaders in the 129.3s and the 29.5. So there's about a second a lap difference at the moment. So the soft's still working fairly well at half distance. This would be where a typical race one would end.
So the rain has gone around Brands Hatch, typically. There's a little gap, which is where Brands Hatch is.
Look at this, Connor Knight now trying to get a good run. Into the pits immediately comes James Knox, who is clearly starting to run out of medium tyres, but he's decided to go at half distance for the soft tyres, which he knows should be able to make it to the end. Bradley Sellers doing the same, and Noah Tuomela as well.
Yep, this is where it gets interesting.
To see where they all filter out there. It's going to be Axon and Boudiot. I think Axon is the highest of those who pit so far. I think Boudiot is still yet to pit.
Yeah, Axon I think is the highest. As he's going past, he's lapping. I think that's
here comes Balaskis, now trying to go for 7th position. Past Stanislas Peugeot. Peugeot goes a little bit wide out of Graham Hill Bend. You can tell Kiss using his experience in racecraft to put Stanislas Peugeot under pressure. He's got the inside line for Surtees, and even with those 75 kilograms of ballast, the move is done, and Peugeot is being left behind here. Fantastic recovery from Balaskis there, who continues to lap in the 130.0s.
So now we've got to watch what the lap times are. Knox has come out a long way behind Axon, like a very long way behind Axon.
Yeah, behind Thomas Raschke as well, as Noah Tuomela comes out just behind James Knox there. So it could be Knox had a slightly slow stop while he was picking his tyres there. He has gone for the softs. Tuomela has gone for a set of mediums, interestingly.
The drivers did also have the option to fuel for the whole race or fill up during the pit stop. So that's another...
That's true. Pfeilen pits. So, as predicted, it is Luca Pfeilen, first of the leaders on the soft tyres, that's taking the gamble, going for the early pit stop to try and undercut Tim Neuendorf.
I wonder if Axon's pulled a blinder here. Because although he pitted early, he's had clear track in front of him on the soft tyres while they're still good. He might jump into the net race lead, then it will just be a matter of trying to keep behind everyone on the fresh tyres.
He is 54 seconds behind Neuendorf at the moment. He could certainly get into the top 6 or 7 depending on how things filter out, but he will of course be on older tyres.
But yeah, I think the old tyres, after doing nearly 20 laps around Brands Hatch, are going to give him some pain.
Yeah, Axon has impressed in the past. So there's Pfeilen and Carl Magnus Boré, of course, who has pit just after him and come into the box just ahead of him.
But Axon jumped Pfeilen, who was in second.
There we go. So that's not ideal for Luca Pfeilen then. But he has got a 5-second gap in which to try, and that is the gap to Tim Neuendorf. So if he can catch up to Alan Axon, then it's going to be very, very close between Pfeilen and Neuendorf. But we, of course, don't know quite how much fuel Neuendorf put on that car at the start. It could be he fueled it very heavily.
Yeah, Neuendorf, I think, has got to come in. As he is, he's coming in now. There
we go. So Neuendorf could not stretch the fuel any longer. Oliver Hargitay, though, on the mediums, you would think could go at least a couple more laps if he needed to, with Adam Zooks stretching this stint on the soft tyres here to try and put pressure on Hargitay. Neuendorf pits from the lead, so this puts Oliver Hargitay into the lead of the race then, so he will at least get a bonus point for 100% simulation, almost certainly now, as Axon is right behind Maxime Boulier. So now Axon is being held up by the Optiminal drivers. This is where Axon's strategy could start to backfire a bit, as he's backed into Luca Feilin 7 seconds behind him.
But then all the drivers, until Bewley pits, are going to have to try and get past him. So
yeah, Tim Neuendorf and Peter Neuendorf pit in the pot racer pit. As was that Noah Tomella blinking in and out of existence right ahead of the race leader.
As Neuendorf coming out the pit, so he's going to keep
there
the
we
lead.
go. And Axon is through past Maxime Boulier, as James Knox gets a penalty for cutting the track, I believe, down in 15th position behind Thomas Raschke. So horribly bad luck for James Knox after a brilliant qualifying session. And look at this, Maxime Boulier also being unlapped, I think, by, is that Luca Gray or Ten Lua? I think it's just gotten through there. It's Luca Gray then, down in 19th. But of course, their teammate Oliver Hargitay still leading at the moment from Adam Zux. Interesting that the softs aren't fading on Zux's car. He's managed them well, extremely well, to gain the ground that he has, and he gets a great run out of Sterling's Bend here. Hargitay, is he going to stay out? Surely he is, and Adam Zux is going to be the one that has to blink first here. As he nearly hits the back of the Hunter Birch there. Going to have to be careful. He's got the inside here, and surely this is Adam Zux taking the lead now.
Was Hargitay trying to pit?
No, I think he's just trying to squeeze Adam Zux as much within the letter of the law there, I think, as he can get away with. But Zux takes the lead then into Paddock Hill Bend there. So that was a little bit of desperation there on the limit. Now Hargitay diving up the inside at Druids to try and hold on to the lead. This is amazing racing, but it's holding both of them up. Meanwhile, Tim Neuendorf has come out in 8th ahead of Alan Axon then, looking to hold on to the net lead of the race. Wide goes Hargitay, but he gets the better run towards Surtees there. So Hargitay holding on to the lead of the race by the skin of his teeth then, as Connor Knight, Peter Schumann, Francisco Perez are all in the pit lane. Tim Neuendorf back up to 5th.
Luke is trying to get involved with Alan Axon. He's unlapping himself at the minute, which might not make him too popular, but as long as he can get up the road, he won't hold up Axon.
James Knox has decided to retire from the race as well, so that's a bitter blow for the British driver at the Delma Auto Racing team. Meanwhile, Hargitay, it's amazing that the softs are still working well 15 laps into this race, and the mediums don't seem to be performing much better. Yeah, certainly both Zux and Hargitay heavily fueling for this first stint of the race and trying to splash and dash at the end.
We've got quite cold temperatures, haven't we? So that will help the soft tyres.
And into the pits comes Hargitay. And a late call from Adam Zux to follow him there. So that essentially condemns Adam Zux to come out behind. Ballast Kiss is going to stay out. So he's, of course, going to feel the pain when he pits of being knocked off track. But he has made a fantastic recovery ahead of Stanislas Bajald. Tim Neuendorf is going to come through to take third on the road. But Axon is going to be the big threat. Let's see where Zux and Hargitay emerge relative to Axon and Feilin. We should expect they'll both come out behind.
Yeah, I think they were fighting quite hard for quite a while, weren't they? Which wouldn't have helped. I think they will probably come out around night sellers, that kind of area.
Yeah, but Hargitay knew there were points. I think Adam Zux might have stolen one of those points. He did lead over the line, technically, but
yeah, we'll have to see what they've got.
Yeah, Hargitay did lead quite a few of those laps then. So through goes Axon, out goes Adam Zux ahead of Oliver Hargitay. There we go. So Oliver Hargitay clearly had a longer stop for whatever reason there. Perhaps he was delayed by the fact that Adam Zux's car was ahead in the pit lane there. Hargitay's actually come out behind Connor Knight as well.
Yep. So the only outliers now. As Hargitay nearly rolls. Sorry.
Dear. Big moment there. That allows Bradley Sullers through, but Hargitay luckily still in the race. But that was nearly a curtains for him.
So Neuendorf has got by far and away, he's 0.3 faster than anyone else in the fastest lap, and he's 12 seconds ahead of Axon.
Yeah, the cold tyres are definitely a bit of an issue here. But yeah, Neuendorf still in the net lead of the race. Ballast Kiss makes his stop, and surely Stanislas Bajode, who now takes the lead of the race, so will get an extra point for doing so. Bajode not far behind as big four-wheel drift for Oliver Hargitay to try and get the tyres back up to temperature. Adam Zux could be a big threat to Luca Filan, though, in these closing stages because he's only 1.5 seconds behind him.
Maybe I think Peugeot is holding out for rain.
Got to be the only strategy, or just extra points for leading the race. So
Yeah.
it's one of the folly of this sort of race where there's bits you may as well just stay out if you don't think you're going to finish competitively, because you can at least just get some more points and then pit on the final lap. 17 seconds between Peugeot and
Kiss
Nundorf.
is in the pit. Sorry.
Yeah, where's Kiss going to come out relative to Hargitay and Sellers? That's the interesting one here. Hargitay right behind Bradley Sellers. Connor Knight still in 6th. Ballas Kiss is going to come out in 7th, so he has jumped Hargitay because of that horrible outlap from Oliver Hargitay, but he's now right behind Bradley Sellers, trying to get up the inside into Druids there, and there we go. So a fantastic comeback from Ballas Kiss after being nerfed into the wall. After the incident with James Knox, they may well still get a punishment for as well if there's a steward's investigation. Now he's got to hold up Oliver Hargitay if he wants to finish in the top 7 here. But Alan Axon is the big gainer here, getting the Unlimited Esports car from lower reaches of the top 10 into 3rd. 5 seconds clear actually of Luca Filan here.
So he's faster than Thailand, but he's not anywhere
He's on
near
the softs.
pace
He's
of
on the
Windhoff.
softs as well. He's the highest runner on the softs because he got the mediums to go so long. And look at Hargitay really fired up as we go into the final 5 laps of the race with Stanislas Peugeot leading Tim Nundorf by 16.5 seconds. Then Nundorf continues to close by 2 seconds a lap. But Peugeot has got to come in.
He hasn't pitted, has he, Peugeot? No, he hasn't.
I haven't seen him pit.
I was just checking we hadn't missed something, and he'd actually pulled an absolute blinder.
Yeah, if he stays out, he will get disqualified almost certainly then. But Axon certainly is the one that has pulled the real blinder here, jumping Luca Filan. Adam Zux, 1.8 seconds behind Filan, both of them on the mediums. Connor Knight has actually done really well to get into 6th here for XRL Esports. That's a fantastic performance from the local driver. Hargitay now looks to the outside of Ballas Kiss. It's Hungarian versus Hungarian with Bradley Sellers looking to pick up the pieces behind them. Hargitay switches to the inside. He's got a much less damaged car than Ballas Kiss, and he gets up into 7th position, albeit 3.6 seconds now behind Connor Knight here. So Hargitay would have hoped for more, having led a bunch of this race, being the highest runner on medium tyres at one point.
Yes, he would have, but it's still not bad, is it, really?
Yeah, I think without that horrible outlap, he would have been looking to be somewhere in between Knight and Zux then, so he's only a place worse off, essentially, which is not too horrendous.
As Peugeot is coming in, finally.
There
He
we
got
go.
his lap lead point, and now he'll get some tyres.
Oh, do you just get a point if you lead a lap and not the amount of laps you lead?
Yeah, so you get the points are awarded for leading line to line. So
Okay.
you cross the finish line twice in the lead, then you get the points.
All right, but on consecutive laps? Or,
Yes.
Okay, yeah, like if, say, it's a bit confusing if when Hargitay and Zux were fighting, Zux just briefly takes it over the line, but Hargitay leads at the end of the lap. Is that a Hargitay point or a Zux point?
That's a nobody point.
All right, it's a stalemate.
But Hargitay did lead a lap, didn't he? So
Yeah, I believe it's
Yeah.
what we call in chess en passant.
we'll work it out later.
There's Luca Gray making, I think, a second stop in this race. More out of frustration to try and snatch fastest lap than anything else. Currently, it's Perez that's got the fastest lap. And Peugeot, he comes out into 10th then. So it's pretty solid, actually. Behind Thomas Raschke, he's actually had a really solid race here. Him and Connor Knight and Alan Axon, the two standouts here. So Axon is looking good for 2nd place here.
Peugeot now with the soft tyres and nothing to lose, so maybe you can make up a few more places.
Yeah, 4 seconds behind Thomas Raschke, though. So let's see what our resident German Raschke can do here, because he's right behind Bradley Sellers as well, who, of course, pit at around about the same time as him as well. So it's a pretty straightforward fight between these two.
And Sellers was quite an early pitter, wasn't he?
And Sellers with those 21 kilograms of ballast as well, compared to Thomas Raschke, who's got 0.
Yep. It's quite a jumbled up top 10.
Yeah, great comebacks, it must be said, from Kiss and Sellers. Although Kiss was significantly more damaged that we saw in the wall, whereas Sellers just lost a lot of time as Raschke goes very, very wide through a Westfield bend there.
Aside from the two Simcoes, every car in the top 10 is a different team.
Carl-Magnus Bore also making a late stop in the other KV86 powerhouse. But certainly it's not really gone to Bore's taste this race.
But this is the point of the race now, where if you're not going to score points, you just come in and go for fastest lap, and then maybe you can still get 2 points on the board.
Yeah, Noah Termelo, you can tell, also really struggling from his lagging connection because he's 11th. Was 11th.
Oh, it's Raska's crashing. I just noticed in the background.
Oh, into the gravel goes Thomas Raschke, and it's not going to be a white Christmas. Through goes Pajode on his soft tyres. Surely as they go up towards Druids Bend, the 78 leaves plenty of room, and he is not stuck in the gravel, but stuck in the snow, I think. We did say, what can Thomas Raschke do? He has blown that 9th position.
Yeah, what can he do? Gravel.
Yeah, he kind of did that to himself more than anything else. But anyway, there's one man we haven't talked a huge amount about since the early phases, and that is Tim Neuendorf. Brilliant performance to get past James Knox, with James Knox, of course, having no ballast on that car. Neuendorf is starting to look like a real championship contender. He's led more laps than anybody else in this race so far. And look at Connor Knight as well, right behind Adam Zux, looking to make good use of those soft tyres. Zux on the mediums, having started on the softs, as we see, Neuendorf and Schunemann, I think, having some trouble with Noah Termelo's connection, briefly gifting them 11th and 12th positions before snatching it away from them again. Connor Knight looking to get into the top 4 here, which would be a landmark result for him, especially in this double distance race. He should be an endurance driver, Connor Knight.
He's doing really well. This is a local track, he said many times, so he's obviously enjoying himself out there.
Yeah. And wide goes Zux. This creates a little opportunity for Connor Knight to get his wheels alongside. Can he brake late enough into Druids? Adam Zux leaves just enough room, no more than he absolutely has to. Tries to hang it round the outside of that Honda Civic to hold position. Connor Knight tries to get the black and green, or the dark green and light green XRL Esports Honda Civic alongside there. All this fighting is potentially making Oliver Hargitay 2 seconds down the road start to gain time on him, as well as Ballast Kiss is starting to push Hargitay along. Connor Knight thought about trying to go up the inside at Pilgrim's Drop, but there was not quite enough room there. That would have been him heading towards the bridge, I think, if he tried that one. To the outside of Hawthorns, the rear starts to slide out on Connor Knight, and he just about holds that one there. A little bit off track, but luckily he saved his race there by just about holding on to it. And again, Adam Zux looking really cagey. He's under a lot of pressure as this 4-way fight for 4th position is going to rage on with 1 more lap to go.
I don't know how Knight held on to that. That was skin of the teeth stuff there, wasn't it?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, you got to hold on to the seat of your pants, Nick, because this is going to be a thriller of a last lap here. Hargitay defending from Kiss in the background. Connor Knight tries to cut underneath Adam Zux. Adam Zux just trying to hold him up at the apex here as Tim Neuendorf is headed towards his 2nd victory of the season after dutifully waiting as the runner-up to Ballast Kiss. This time he gets his revenge. Look at Connor Knight absolutely swinging it through and hitting the back of Adam Zux there. That really cost Connor Knight there.
Here's Hargitay.
Yeah, Hargitay is now well and truly upon him. It's Honda versus Honda in the battle for 5th, and that might well save the bacon of Adam Zux as his teammate Ballast Kiss is starting to join the fight as well, despite Kiss being heading at the wall at 180 miles per hour early in this race. Somehow he's got back into 7th here and is looking at potentially snatching another place if any of these 3 trip up in front of him.
That's quite likely, I think, judging by how hard they're fighting, but let's see.
Anyway, here comes Tim Neuendorf through the final couple of corners at Stirling, and then just Clearways and Clark Curve to go. It's been an imperious performance. Got onto pole position despite a bad start, repassed. As Luca Gray snatches the fastest lap of the race, Tim Neuendorf powers towards the line, and it's going to be victory for the pot racer driver, and that's a result that puts him well and truly into the mix in the championship lead here as Connor Knight is having one last-ditch attempt to snatch 4th away from Adam Zux. The softs still working well. Is Connor Knight going to risk it here? Axon is going to take a fantastic 2nd position, his best result of the season so far. Wide goes Connor Knight, and Oliver Hargitay is desperately looking for a way through, but Knight switches to the inside. They come towards the line as one, and it's going to be Phylan in 3rd, Zux holding on to 4th, Connor Knight 5th. His best result of the season so far. Hargitay in 6th, and then Kiss in 7th with Bradley Sellers in 8th. What a fantastic race. A fantastic fight all the way to the finish. But Neuendorf May even have got himself into the championship lead there with that result, with the amount of points he gained on Ballast Kiss there.
I can have a
Kiss
quick
led a couple of
check.
laps, but Neuendorf led, I think, at least 8 or 9 in total there.
Yep, so it's still only the one. You still only get the 1 point for doing it once. But
Oh, they're
Neuendorf
even.
was 131 to 890, so 41 points behind, and he's just scored about 54 points.
Oh, yes, that 7th place could come back to haunt him. Let's see a replay of the start here. You've got Neuendorf on the left, James Knox on the right, and then Ballast Kiss and Luca Filin on the road just behind. So Kiss makes a brilliant getaway. Knox makes a pretty good one as well, but Neuendorf does not get off the line properly at all. And then you got Hargitay just trying to bide his time behind them as well.
Very clean, wasn't it?
Yeah, no need
Very
for
neat and
your
tidy.
involvement whatsoever, Nick, other than the commentary box.
I'm expecting that to not be the same for the reverse grid.
Well, let's see what happened then. Oh, there was the Tuamela crash. And it looked like Tuamela almost got tapped around. They tried to go 3 into 1, didn't they? Sellers, Tuamela, and was that Luca Gray as well in the 56?
It looked like a dive from Tuamela. It didn't pay off.
Yeah, I think it was Lua was trying. Oh, and there was another collision. That's Gray being spun out by Rashke. Thomas Rashke may have to apologize for that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Gray very nearly saved it as well, and then it just nipped around on him evilly.
If Luca didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck, would he?
No, it certainly seems to be the case so far this season, but he did snatch the fastest lap of the race on the final lap as well. Oh.
Yeah, this is what I saw. You might not want to watch this.
Oh, big hit for Luca Gray as well. That was pretty poor from 10 Lua, that rejoin there.
And then this, yeah, that's Kiss. It just felt like he moved across before he was clear. Obviously, we'll need more angles on it, but I don't think there was much Knox could do there. Maybe could have got out of it a little bit, but yeah. Ooh.
Ooh, what's this happening? Sorry, I'm just telling my drivers to that they're not getting Christmas cards this year. Oh, that's Staffan being spun out by Maxime, isn't it? Oh, Maxime we saw in the gravel earlier. That was a bit messy from the both of them, and that's how Pajode, was it? That Pajode in the wall? No, it's Perez, sorry, who briefly held the fastest lap earlier, finding the wall there. I've only ever seen an F3 car do that. Brands Hatch, not a touring car, find that barrier on the inside just before Druids. And this is Luca Gray on his quest to get the fastest lap, just going a little bit wide, and that was how he lost the rear wing, I think.
That was a big hit. That reminded me of Kamish a few years ago, last race of the season.
Downforce radio, I'm going to be happy about that one. Here's Carl Magnus Bore. Just going a bit wide, rejoining, and nothing too interesting happening there, but surviving that one as the server ticks over.
Yep, so that was a very entertaining race.
Oh, certainly a lot happening. Let's go over the provisional results then. Tim Neuendorf then takes victory from Alan Axon, who had a brilliant undercut strategy to clear everybody. Luca Filin took 3rd from Adam Zooks. Then it was Connor Knight in 5th, Oliver Hargitay 6th, Ballast Kiss 7th, Bradley Sellers recovering to 8th along with Ballast Kiss, Stanislas Pajode P9, and then Thomas Rashke somehow holding on to P10 despite a slightly messy race. We also got I imagine after in the new year, Thomas Rashke is going to go back to the heating company livery that he used for the first race and only the first race. Behind them in 11th position we have Stanislas Pajode. Do we? Oh, I haven't got the results catalog, so I have to rely on Pascal ticking over the time. Okay, there we go. Right, finally. So there is our 11th place finisher, Noah Tuamela. Peter Neuendorf is 12th. Peter Schoenemann, the other Peter, is 13th. Francisco Perez 14th, final point scored by 10 Lua. Then it's Maxime Bulliot 16th, Staffan Nilsson 17th, with Luca Gray taking the fastest lap but only finishing in 18th position. And Carl Magnus Bore, our final finisher in 19th. James Knox, you got a feel for James Knox. Started on the front row, took the lead early doors, then lost the lead, made a couple of mistakes, and got a penalty for cutting the track, I believe, and then decided to retire and call that first race early. But let's hope race 2, a reverse grid round, goes a little bit smoother for James. So
yeah, I wonder if he had any hardware problems, because he did last week. His monitor turned off halfway through the race. So I don't know if it was
it
something
wouldn't
of the
surprise
same.
me. Because James Knox, you may remember, you may be familiar from his exploits in GPVWC Formula Sprint 2 for the RNG team, and in Formula Sprint 1. He also did a couple of substitute drives as well. Did pretty well, scored quite a number of points, and I believe a podium or two in Formula Sprint 2. So he was a real thorn in our side, and one of the reasons our team RNG and Anthony Nickbon's team beat us probably. But but anyway, I guess, do we have to do the reverse grid draw now for?
Yeah, we do. We'll throw the whole system into into disarray and do it now. Feels a bit weird, but yeah. Spin the wheel.
You decided this, Nick. This is your doing. You wanted a special event. Merry Christmas.
Is that P9?
All right, who was that? Well, that was Peugeot, wasn't it?
Peugeot, yeah.
So Stan says Peugeot will take pole position, and that's going to be annoying for Rashke because he's going to just miss out by 1 position on being in the reverse grid draw then.
He's going to lament going off into the gravel.
Yeah,
he would have been ahead of Peugeot.
He only has himself to blame. Too much Christmas spirit, that's what I say. Let's see what people are saying in the chat while we wait for the final.
Nothing last time I checked.
Okay. It doesn't help that I didn't share it. There's 9 people watching. Probably some of them are taking part. One of them's me.
One of them's me.
All right. 7 people watching. Actually watching.
Say hi.
No, don't say anything. Treat us with the silent contempt that we deserve. All right. So you doing anything fun for Christmas, Nick?
Not thinking about touring cars.
Oh, okay. I don't blame you. I'm be thinking about being the FSR president.
That sounds important.
Well, I might rope some of you guys in if we're a bit low on people to do things for us. I can't actually get into the game because I'm on a Mac as well, so that is one part of it. So I'm doing a lot of the admin, which isn't too bad, to be fair, from the sounds of things.
Well, I've got an old gaming computer, if you need a computer.
Oh, thanks. Right, I might be able to screen share a little bit, because at least it's a good enough Mac Studio that I can sort of screen share effectively, unlike when I was using the MacBook before, where it's like, I'd basically have a really bad connection, not bad connection, but it wouldn't be right. The RAM and the CPU wouldn't be able to cope with controlling another computer, and it basically freezes after a while, and I have to keep going back in and out so that I could actually change cameras and see what was happening. Yeah, those were the good old days, but.
Yeah, I remember the trying to.
I also remember in the very early days, nobody explained to me how to use anything, so I was trying to. It was a bit frustrating as well. Like, why isn't anything working? And it was like people complaining, why are we watching this one random GT3 car at the back of the field? It's because I can't control anything, and no one's told me what to do. And also, it was lagging like hell.
And it's R factor, so it never works properly anyway.
Well, I mean, it was probably working okay, but I didn't know what to do because I didn't know any of the controls or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like 3 years ago, so we'll probably let it go.
We've moved on a bit since then.
Yeah. Anyway, warm-up begins. Still no sign of the rain. Randomized weather, of course, for race 3. We saw it play its part as all. It's on the KV86 is arriving backwards into Druid Terpin, which is not the ideal line to take.
Well, I've got a new headset. I keep unmuting myself. I'm going to set the ballast. I'll be back in a second.
Sure thing. So then, we look at Peugeot and his Finovon stablemate from the other team, I believe, which is Peter Schooneman. Just swapping positions, trading a bit of paintwork. You can tell Schooneman in the Finovon white with the big white on top of the windscreen. Kind of on green, much more orange than green, I must be said. Although there are a few green highlights on the front of the car, you can see.
You haven't
and a little
actually noticed the Final on Focus that Peugeot is driving is just Hunter Burt's car from last year painted orange.
Really? I don't remember that many. It does look a little bit similar, but
Yeah, no, because I had
that's
to make
recycling.
the skin quite last minute. I just repainted it.
Oh, you
It's
made
good that
our
you didn't
one quite
notice
last.
though.
Yeah, I guess. It's a nice little recolor. I think I remember in GPVWC Super League, and that's Rashko being tapped into the wall by Schienemann. So clearly, no love lost between those two. But I noticed the Super Venturi team and the TOP Esports team, which is run by Netrex, were making fun of each other because they they were doing like liveries for the final race of the season where it was the other team's livery but in their colors, and it said a copy of other team's livery instead of the team logo on the side or something like that. They got really meta with it, which was not confusing at all.
I mean, that's how it works.
I think maybe it's because there's like one guy that designs majority of the liveries in GPVWC. Anyway, there's the last stint racing car. I'm pretty sure Stefan designed that one because it looks like he did it in like 2 minutes and then...
No, I did that one as well.
Oh, okay. But he hasn't changed it in the years he's been here.
Can't improve perfection.
Well, I do like how most of the letters of Cooper are sort of you can't see them because of the shade of blue, so it just like looks like Oopa.
You've got his little if the camera moves to the side, you've got his little profile picture on the side window as well.
Okay.
I don't know if we can do that. There it is.
All right, the Pepe, the rare Pepe. Yeah, so Stefan truly into the happening meme culture of 2016, which is surely not gonna age the stream like milk already.
Oh well, it's already been there 3 seasons. So.
That's true. Yeah, but Stefan's not been here until this is okay. I guess next we're going to see Stefan with like an NFT on the side of his car that people can invest in. Watch your NFT crash out wildly. Didn't Alpine try that with ApeCoin or whatever it was?
All the NFT sponsors have now gone bust, haven't they?
Most of them. I think OKX is still over the McLaren, isn't it? And Red Bull has still got massive buy Bitcoin. Or buy bit, it just says on
whatever.
there.
I don't even know what half of them are, and I don't think any regular person is going to look on the side of an F1 car and go, "I must buy crypto." But it seems
I think it's more if you're a dodgy sponsor, sort of putting yourself on an F1 car adds you a level of legitimacy. It's like all these Middle Eastern countries that with very low human rights records trying to get Grand Prix to sort of normalize their themselves in the world. So same with the World Cup too. In football.
Yeah, but like Kick and Stake, that's all a pretty dodgy company, isn't it? And they're title sponsors.
Yeah. And it's interesting if you look at the because the Lego sets that are coming out next March of the 2024 Formula One field, the 2 Red Bull cars are 18. The ones with the actual proper sponsor logos are 18 plus, and they have the sort of 18 plus adult artwork, which is basically just a black background, even though it's basically. People who like Red Bull are going to buy it anyway. But the Kick Sauber, or the officially it's a Stake Sauber, isn't it? But Kick is own. Kick Sauber. It's Audi, co-owned by Qatar, isn't it? The Qatar investment firm, whatever. KIE. But they are. I think Kick is the streaming website, which has some very, very lax rules when it comes to gambling, when it comes to all sorts of adult content.
What is Stake? Stake is online.
Stake is a gambling company, and it's owned by the same people who made Kick, essentially, who sort of use it to promote the Stake. It's a sort of online casino sort of thing, essentially.
It's
gambling.
How is that allowed? But you can't.
I think it's literally because people don't know what Kick is, that they're sort of relying on ignorance. It's the same with Aramco on the or even Bitcoin or OKX I mentioned.
Velo on the McLaren.
I think McLaren put out a set because the Velo logo is a lot smaller on the current McLaren, so Lego just sort of didn't put it on the car for the car that's coming out next year. But they have got the current car, which is the 2023 livery, and Velo, they had massive Velo one on the side. They've just replaced that with the McLaren logo, which is interesting because of course it's the vape brand of British American Tobacco. Who, of course, used to sponsor memorably the BAR team, British American Racing, with a Lucky Stroke on the side of that car, which was in a way, I kind of wish they'd bring back all those sort of censored logos, like instead of Benson and Hedges, you'd get Buzzing Hornets, or just when Jordan got really lazy and they were running out of money, they just got rid of letters and had it say "Be on Edge."
I liked the was it the McLaren where they wrote their names on the side?
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of what we tried to do with our FS2 car as well.
Or the
so it wasn't
Ferrari that had the barcode.
Yeah,
that was quite cool.
Or just a big white square. If you ever played the, I think it was the F1 Manager game series in like the late 90s, they did a very EA did a very buggy F1 Manager game. As we see race 2 about to start. For some reason, Nurendorf on pole. It seems like, unless the grid is about to reset itself.
No, the grid did not set.
Oh, the rain certainly did.
Yeah, the grid didn't set. So
but anyway, I'll continue rambling while you fix whatever's wrong. So the F1 Manager games had to incorporate all of the cigarette sponsorship in a uniform sort of way, but without actually having cigarette sponsorship, because the game was obviously for all ages. So Ferrari, I think, instead of having Marlboro sponsor the sponsorship, and you could hire the sponsor, it was just called White Square. It didn't explain what White Square was. It would just say White Square was the main sponsor of Ferrari. McLaren, it would just say Team, I think, instead of the name of the driver, because they couldn't program it to keep up with all the driver changes you'd have in that game, essentially. Because you could have like Jack Villeneuve would randomly sign for McLaren, or
well, now you've got the screens that change the sponsor, haven't you, on the McLaren as well?
Oh yes, of course, the LED screen that somehow has the shifting sponsor.
And that was on the IndyCar, one of the Indy cars.
Yeah, you could theoretically have a screen that has the driver's name, but it changes mid-race if the drivers they decide they're going to fire the driver to like fire P45, it'll say on the side. Maybe they could do that with Sergio Perez's car. Oh, that's a bit cruel.
You can have Helmut writing out messages to the driver. Go faster or you're sacked.
You're sacked no matter what you do, I hate you. or it's okay, Max, that other guy, just like he's like swearing about the other drivers on a little LED screen. Kill him now. It's like Emperor Palpatine, Helmut Marko.
You're not Max. I don't care about you. Get out of my car.
Oh, he doesn't even care to write a message. He has a generic message like "keep going" or something like that. Oh.
Hurry up, or I'll leak some more WhatsApp messages.
Oh God. I'll tell the press your deepest psychological fear of sock puppets. Anyway, we did see briefly some rain in that aborted start there. So I think there might be some drivers that put their finger on the wet button.
Yeah, it'll reset now because we've reset the weekend, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. As exciting as that would have been, don't read too much into it.
Anyway, there we go. I did slagged off 10 Lure for making contact with Luca Gray as he rejoined, and Luca said it's fine. I crashed afterwards anyway, so which is not really the way I see it, but okay. But anyway, 10 jumped in last minute as Luca Filan doesn't even begin to bother taking a Dingle-Dell or Sheen's corner there. But anyway, Stanislas Peugeot starting on the front row with, I think, Bradley Sellers alongside him. This could be a big opportunity for those two to take their first wins of the season. Ballas Kiss, of course, though, having recovered, does get to start in third for the second race in a row, actually, because he started third in race 1 as well. So there's a good chance for Ballast Kiss to get his own back on Tim Neuendorf and at least close the gap that's now emerged in the championship, because the difference between finishing 7th and 1st in that race 1, that's going to be even bigger. It's double what it would normally be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's so it's what's a win? A win's 25 points, 20 points, 20 points, and second is 17. So it's 6-point difference now.
Well, it's he was 7th though.
So
second.
7th would usually be 9 points, so it's 18 points.
Yeah, it's an
So
18-point gain.
22-point swing,
Yeah.
not including bonus points. So it could be up to 28, 26, 28.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Grid's finally set. There was some issues with the gridding.
So I think they're level. They're pretty much a level. I think because it would be, if you had 22 to 104, it's 126. So that would only put him about 5 points behind. And if
I
you
think
had
the smart money's on Kiss for this race, though, I think.
If you can stay out of trouble this time, let's see what Bradley Sillers and Pajot think about that. And of course, I think pretty much everybody used the softs, didn't they? Are they allowed to use the softs for this one?
Yeah, free tire choice.
Okay, right. Do my drivers know that? I think they do. Okay.
It was in the announcement and stuff, and I've put it in the chat before. So hopefully they've.
Tim Lear, even though he's in the server, was asking me for the details. It's like, you're in the
2
server.
seconds.
Okay. Race 2 about to begin. The final race of the day here at Brands Hatch. The final race of the year in EERC British Touring Cars. The lights go out and the race begins. And it's a great getaway for Pajot, but an even better one for Ballast Kiss, who's now trying to get alongside Bradley Sillers. Look out for Hargitai. He's going really, really deep on the outside. That's not a great paddock hill bend he's taken there. He's lost another position to Adam Zooks there. Uphill they all go into Druids. Pajot leads Bradley Sillers, but Bradley Sillers sees Ballast Kiss going up the inside there, and Ballast Kiss has actually gone into the lead because Pajot has briefly made a mistake as well. Oh, as he gets really squirrely out of Grim Hill Bend. Ballast Kiss going for the lead here. He's got past Bradley Sillers, now he's going first. And as Pajot as well into Surtees. Fantastic move there from the former championship leader to take the lead there. Meanwhile, how is Tim Neuendorf doing? He's lost a place to Thomas Raschke, of all people. He's down to 9th, is Neuendorf.
Once again, quite a neat and tidy first lap.
Neuendorf has got max ballast, hasn't he, from winning race 1?
Yes.
So there we go then. The order is Kiss, Pajot, Bradley Sillers, Adam Zooks, Oliver Hargitai,
wet.
Luca Filin, Connor Knight, Thomas Raschke, Tim Neuendorf, and Peter Schooneman.
Yeah, Luca Gray's on the wet
is
side.
on the wet. Yeah, there we go. So Luca Gray gambled on it raining. It's 0% chance of rain. So Luca Gray, I did say free tire choice. He seemed to think that meant it's going to rain.
But, it's worth a gamble, isn't it?
I guess
Maybe.
so. He was near the back anyway, but this is going to lose him a load of time if he doesn't pit now for dries. Anyway, here is the battle. That is, I'm very glad in a way that I put 10 Lure into the point scoring car now, despite that crash earlier, because at least he isn't starting the race on the whites and it's clearly bone dry. But Lure now fighting Noah Tuomela, who's tried to go around the outside of him. They bump into the side at Druids. 10 Lure trying to hang it out, but it looks like Noah Tuomela has gotten through into 11th position there. So good move from the Finn. As we see Maxime Bulliot in a fight with the second of the Neuendorfs. That's Peter Neuendorf holding on to the final points paying position as Hargitai had been jumped by Adam Zooks at the start. He's now trying to challenge him. And Bradley Sillers having a look at the outside of Stanislas Pajot. Pajot starting to really drop off the back of Ballast Kiss now. This is really feeling like a sprint race at this point with everyone apart from Gray on the softs. Why is Luca Gray sticking out on the wets? Seems like a bizarre choice here.
I suppose if you've committed now, it's not...
Oh, Luca Gray is saying, am I on wets? Yes. Why? I don't know why he would not. I don't know why he wouldn't know.
It's not that obvious when you're driving, but he knows now.
Yeah, Clearly, he saw it rain at the first bit and got caught out, didn't he, at the aborted start there? So
Bright sunshine on the second start. So.
Lucas had a lot of bad luck this season, but I think he really only has himself to blame for that one.
Yeah, that one was self-inflicted.
Oh, as Rashke dips a wheel in the gravel. As look at this, it's all getting very, very mixed up. Alan Axon has actually had a horrible start from, was it 8th on the grid or 7th or 8th on the grid? He's dropped all the way down to 14th. Sorry, just getting back past James Knox there.
Got a very heavy car.
Yeah, of course. As same deal though for Tim Noondorf, who's still holding on to 9th ahead of Peter Schienemann. Look at Bradley Sellers tucking right up to the back of Peugeot here. And Bradley Sellers does have a little bit more ballast in this race than Stanislas Peugeot ahead of him. Peugeot goes very, very wide into Hawthorns. And this is the opportunity. This could be the only chance for Bradley Sellers to get through at Westfield. And he slices to the inside, but he goes too deep himself. They're still going to be almost side by side into Dingledale. But it's Bradley Sellers that's made the move as Toro Meller gets himself a penalty. That could be crucial for his championship. No, Toro Meller down 11th. Was just fighting with 10 Lua in the Hunter Birch. And he's got himself a penalty.
At least that'll get him out of the way with the connection issues.
Yeah,
hopefully it's not the same situation as Silverstone.
Yeah, Bradley Sellers now 2.5 seconds behind Ballast Kiss. He's got to try and push to catch up to that gap, but he is looking good for second position if he can keep Stanislas Peugeot behind him. Hargitay, meanwhile, continuing to harass the back of his fellow countryman Adam Zux. And Hargitay going a little bit wide at the start, sort of opened the door. Here's Noondorf, fancies a run on the no ballast car of Thomas Rashke there. Rashke with the seasonal livery. It's looking very bright and sunny for December 18th, isn't it? And Thomas Rashke has lost out again with a mistake into the first corner of the lap. That's allowed Noondorf back into the top 8 there. So Tim Noondorf doing well the limited damage here that Balaskis can do in that Drivers' Championship here. Balaskis, if he finishes like this, Balaskis would retake the lead in the points, depending, of course, on penalties, of course.
Yeah, if Sellers manages to win this, it's the first ever Cupra win. We had the first ever Astra win last week, so...
I'm just waiting on that first ever Honda Civic win of the season. It's yet to happen. I don't think it has anyway, as we see Hargitay, who has come close on 2 occasions with 2 second places. Oh, Toro Meller decides, rather than serve the penalty, he would rather just call it quits altogether. That's a big shame for him. Has Luca Gray switched to the softs? Yes, he has. So that is at least some solace. But in this 11-lap race, starting on the wrong tyres was a pretty lethal decision to his chances.
He's only got 45 seconds to the next car. So.
He might catch Staffan if Staffan makes a even bigger mistake. It does seem unlikely as Hargitay, or very close to the back of Zux here as they go uphill. Peugeot is quite slow in front of them. And a switch to the inside for Hargitay, but it's very, very late as he knows Luca Filin is catching behind as well. So Oliver Hargitay definitely trying some unconventional braking to try and put off Adam Zux into Druids there, as we see Rashke really having to defend from Peter Schienemann here. Up the inside goes Oliver Hargitay into Surtees. That was well judged there to get the overlap, but they're still going to be side by side on exit there. Good presence of mind from Adam Zux, who is going to be stuck on the outside though as they swing down Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorne.
Yeah, that was perfectly judged from Hargitay there.
Hopefully it needs to make sure it doesn't get taken out here as, look at this, up the inside comes Phelan as well. This has not been a good lap from Adam Zerx's defense, starting to crumble as 2 drivers force their way by. Hargitay's through and now Phelan as well.
And Neuendorf making progress even though he's got
Bradley Sellers wide. Oh my goodness, Peugeot and Sellers go wide, and round the outside goes Oliver Hargitay on Bradley Sellers. And what on earth is going on? Peugeot goes off again out of Sterling's. This is absolute calamity, and Ballast Kiss is now running away with this race as Sellers goes back up the inside of Luca Filin through the final corner.
I think Peugeot's decided it's time to try some rallycross.
And Bradley Sellers, to be fair, he was ahead. I don't know what happened to Bradley as well. He did the same thing, and Zux now goes back up the inside of Luca Filin here. So actually, Zux and Filin have both lost out there as Sellers loses out to Hargitay, but Peugeot now has got to deal with Oliver Hargitay, who's now going to start to catch him.
So much for that Cupra win, eh?
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, Ballast Kiss looking more and more in command of this race. Tim Neuendorf now is right behind Violen as well, looking to take advantage as we see Stefan Nielsen dueling away with Maxime Beaulieu. And great to see these two going at it, hammer and tongs, just outside the points-paying positions, of course. Maxime Beaulieu, runner-up in Formula Sprint 2 last season, raced for the Fusion team alongside his Optiminal team owner, Remco De Zeo, in Super Lights last season, of course. Got some decent results here and there, but certainly starting to prove himself, the French-Canadian. Of course, is a driver racing with a disability. He has a sort of a jaw that is a little bit different to everybody else's, but he's a lovely man. Don't let that fool you, of course. And absolute pleasure and a joy to work with Maxime Beaulieu, it must be said. So great to see him back in EERC British Touring Cars, and giving him and Stefan, the two returning drivers, having a good fight.
Having a great time, yeah.
James Knox also having a better race as well, right behind the very heavily ballast Alan Axon, who's dropped about 3 seconds behind Francisco Perez as we go into the final 5 laps. And Tim Neuendorf is desperately trying to hold off Connor Knight. He's worked his way into the top 7, has Tim. I think there's been a bit of drama that they've taken advantage of course. But yeah, Luca Filin will start to worry about, I think, Tim Neuendorf as well. As you see Hargitay, now he's caught well and truly up to the back of Peugeot, looking for an opening that he can use here. Peugeot has just not had the pace of Ballast Kiss. He's about 7 seconds behind him now, and he's really starting to hold up Hargitay.
There's a bit of a train here, isn't there? And Hargitay and Peugeot used to be teammates, didn't they, in Iris?
Yeah, Team Iris, yes. Before I snatched up Oliver, but... Anyway, you can see this big train from 2nd all the way through to 11th. Francisco Perez and 10 Lure fighting away at the back of it to finish in the top 10 here. But Oliver Hargitay looking to get his 3rd race-free final race of the day podium in a row, isn't he? Oh, because he was third in won the race. Oh no, it was race 2 at Silverstone, wasn't it? He came 3rd. He was 2nd last time out here at Brands Hatch, and now he wants to go 2nd again. Oh dear, Connor Knight going very wide at Sterling. Through goes Peter Schoenemann, and it looks like 10 Lewis is going to fancy a crack at him as well, with Perez in tow too. So just 1 place lost for Connor Knight, but 10 Lure shows his nose to the inside. Will he make a dive into Paddock Hill Bend? He's going for it. Up he goes into 9th position there. That was a bold move from 10 Lure.
Knight's going to get the switch back here. He'll have the inside coming into Druid.
Oh, he's not quite got the run, and there's the Finnevond ahead of them of Peter Schoenemann. But nonetheless, he goes for it anyway. Does Connor Knight? 10 Lure is still there on the outside. Is he going to dive back up the inside into Graham Hill Bend? They go door to door, and 10 Lure is through. And look at this, Knight is pushed wide, and through comes another car. That's, of course, Francisco Perez.
It's so close, isn't it? Brands Hatch is not a wide circuit by any imagination.
No, you really can't afford to be pushed wide. And look at this. Bradley Sellers trying to go around the outside of Oliver Hargitay, taking advantage of the fact that... there we go. Wide they go. Wheel to wheel as they go down towards the drop and into the Westfield Bend. They're still side by side as always. That's somebody kicking up dust alongside. That's Bradley Sellers then, and through goes Zux as well. So the two Hungarians take advantage there. Bradley Sellers, I think Oliver Hargitay almost got pushed wide a little bit by Peugeot, and that was why he fell into Sellers' clutches there.
Yeah, Peugeot defending like his life depends on it a little bit, isn't he? But it's working for him.
Yeah, he's certainly not leaving much on the table there. But anyway, just 3 more laps to go then, and Ballast Kiss leads by 8 seconds from Peugeot, who's desperate to hold on to that podium. But Hargitay has been lapping consistently a little bit quicker than him. He was even a tenth quicker the lap before this one. Bradley Sellers now, a race that saw him looking good to finish in 2nd position, now sees him fighting to hold on to 5th as Zux has gotten past him as well. And this train of cars, they're all just so bunched together, and Neuendorf, even with all that ballast, is doing well to keep pressure on Lucas Filin ahead of him.
They're fighting so hard that ballast doesn't make any difference, really, because they're slowing each other up so much.
Exactly, yeah. Ballast Kiss will not mind that one bit because it's giving him a very, very comfortable lead at the present moment. But Jode, the only one that could potentially race unhindered by Hargitay behind at the present moment. Hargitay just a second down on him. And look at this, Sellers really coasting up to the back of Adam Zux here. and trying to get back through. Of course, he's got less ballast than Zux, so he will be
course,
faster down the
in
straight.
Teams Championship, no Kings this week. So Simcoe can really steal a bit of a march.
Yeah, Simcoe, who already in the lead as we see Knight getting back past Schooneman and Lure being passed. Oh, and pushed into the gravel there by Francisco Perez. He will not be happy about that one at all.
Yeah, they're not letting up, are they? You'd think this is for the win, but it's for what, 8th. Not that, that's still quite high up, actually.
Yeah, not much different to the battle for second, though. And it looks like as we go into the penultimate lap, Hargitay is not gaining quite as much. His lap time very, very similar to Peugeot then, as Ballast Kiss has actually slowed up his pace a bit too. So they're all lapping in the mid 129s in the top 5. So it's a bit of a stalemate at present then, as 10 Lure diving from a little bit too far back to try and get 10th back off of Francisco Perez, the Portuguese driver. Sorry, I've been just talking continuously, Nick. So
it's nearly done. One more lap.
Here we go then. Bradley Sellers right behind Adam Zux then. Is he going to be able to get a 4th place Christmas miracle? Or will Adam Zux be able to hold on here? It's certainly going to be miraculous for Simcoe here after all the trouble they had in race 1. Race 2 is certainly going their way as Carl Magnus Bore making a late charge here on Axon, who's got so much ballast.
Spinning off.
Lua has absolutely binned it into the gravel and dropped to 14th position. In fact, Bulio is going to get through as well, I think, as Carl Magnus Bore still duking it out here with the Unlimited Esports of Alan Axon, but it's Axon with that 75 kilos that has to make way for Bore. Bore gaining 2 places in 1 there after being gifted by Lure. And Lure, in fact, has dropped behind Staffan Nilsson very briefly, although he does take back that final point of Schooneman, all forcing Knight very, very wide. And they dropped well off the back of Filen.
He's letting him through there.
They fight up for 7th then. And there
yeah,
we go,
let
as
him
we
back
say. Final lap then between those two, and all very, very sideways for Filen then as he tries to get past Bradley Sellers. They're going to go side by side into Druid's hairpins. It's going to be Sellers on the outside, Filen on the inside, and Adam Zux holding all them up just ahead. Hargitay's about 4/10 behind Peugeot, so he's running out of opportunities here to snatch that 2nd position as Sellers gets really sideways, and now Neuendorf is going to try and go around the outside. This is going to be brave for the man fighting for the lead in this championship. There we go, the race 1 winner goes up to 6th.
We've been spoiled a bit today, haven't we? 2 races of door-to-door touring car racing and hardly any crashing.
Oh, of course. Oh, there we go. Look at Peugeot. Oh, he got onto the grass there through Hawthorns then. And into Westfield they go. Peugeot really struggling here. Can Hargitay do a last-minute maneuver to get into 2nd position as Peugeot is just so careful. He really doesn't want to take out Oliver Hargitay in these closing stages. And who can blame him? It's Schooneman. And Knight continue to swap position. Schooneman back through into 8th then. But Ballast Kiss is coming towards the line now. It's 4th, 5th and 6th and 7th all together then. But Ballast Kiss takes another win for Simcoe as Knight gets a penalty. That's disaster for Connor Knight. He's clearly track extended a bit there. Who is going to finish in 4th position? It's going to be Adam Zux. Filen makes a last-minute dive to the outside. It's not enough. Neuendorf heroically gets up to 6th, just pipping Bradley Sellers there. But what a fantastic duel. Peugeot was able to get his best finish of the season so far to beat Oliver Hargitay there. But Peugeot could be in trouble if there was contact between himself and Hargitay. That could well be investigated.
Good point.
There we go. Staffan does take the final point then. So Ten Lure did get past Maxime Bullier for 13th as Connor Knight, of course, with that penalty at the end. That's dropped him behind Nilsson, Raschke and Neuendorf. Alright, so let's see a replay then of the very, very start of this race while we wait for any interviewees to show up, which I doubt we're going to get too many because we never do. But yeah, Bradley Sellers was in the middle, was a little bit on the outside of Peugeot into turn 1. And this was what allowed Kiss, who played this absolutely perfectly. You predicted he would do this, and that prophecy immediately turned out to be true there, because look at Ballast Kiss not wasting any time up the inside. This is what happened to Gray, who started on the wets, just found himself understeering off at Westfield. Didn't even realize he was on wets, which is certainly embarrassing for him. Had to actually type in the chat to find out. I tried pitting again to get fastest laps as Luca Gray, but I didn't have enough time. Nice.
Oh, that's
And that was happened to Rashke straight into the wall. Did he just do that on his own, Nick?
I didn't quite see the start of that.
Yeah, here we go. Right behind Connor Knight. Oh, just onto the grass, I think. There might have been a little touch behind. Oh, and there's Peter Neuendorf. Oh, just being tagged around by, I think that was Carl Magnus Bore. And that could be Bore in a lot of trouble if so. That move was never really on.
Need to see a bit of a different angle on that one.
Yeah, certainly the pot racer team will be a bit upset with that. Oh, and this is wheel lifting from Luca Gray. No wonder he didn't have time to set fastest lap of the race. He was too busy doing acrobatics there through Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah.
This is Lewis off. Oh, he did almost a very similar one, except he spun to what Thomas Rashke did.
I was just watching Luca again. That was quite a maneuver.
And this is Staffan. This is how Ken Lua got back through then. Staffan went wide at the Dingle-Dell, didn't he? And that put him off track into Sheens.
Oh, that's what happened with...
Oh, so Peugeot tried to move on Bradley Sellers. There we go. So Sellers didn't lose it on his own. Sellers left the door open. Peugeot dived for it. And there wasn't really... He was never really going to make that corner with Stanislas.
I think Sellers must have gone off before that because Peugeot had
he didn't have a lot of momentum, did he? But yeah, Bradley, you have to say, Bradley kind of threw away a podium there. And a little bit of contact as Hargitay went through around the outside. And in the end, that was the order they would finish. But yeah, there's Ballast Kiss. Crossing the line, we didn't talk about it too much, but beautiful executed start, and then he just pulled away. And that's really been the case for him so often this season. You've got to say Ballast Kiss at the halfway stage has got to be one of the favourites, or the favourite for the championship. But Tim Neuendorf certainly put his best foot forward today and could well be a threat going forwards as well if he keeps getting pole positions. Anyway, here's the final order. Ballast Kiss takes another victory for, I think that's their 5th win of the season so far. Stanislas Bajau takes 2nd, his best result of the season so far, with Oliver Hargitay in 3rd. Adam Zux 4th, Luca Feilin 5th, Tim Neuendorf 6th, Bradley Sellers 7th, Peter Schumann 8th, Connor Knight 9th, Francisco Perez also 9th, but I think that's because of the penalty for Connor Knight. So I think that's Perez 9th, and then I believe whoever finished 10th.
Let me get the logs. I've got Knight classified in 18th.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. So bitter disappointment for Connor Knight after a great first race to have that track extension backfire on him and getting that penalty. But nonetheless, good performances today. Let's have a look at the second page if we can. Who finished in 10th. In 10th position, James Knox, surprisingly. So great performance by James to stay out of trouble. We didn't talk about him much, but he did at least get a top 10, which he richly deserved there, I think. Carl Magnus Bore could be in trouble, but he does finish 11th on the road ahead of Alan Axon, who had so much ballast to deal with. Ten Lua drops to 13th after admittedly blowing a top 10 there. Maxime Bidio takes a couple of points for Optiminal. Stefan Nielsen gets a point on his return in the independent entry. Rashke, no points for him in race 2. He is 16th ahead of Peter Neuendorf. And it's Luca Gray, started on the wets, 2 laps down. One to forget for him yet again, with Noah Toimella retiring due to that. I think it may have been a disconnection, or he had a penalty anyway, didn't he? So I think he may have been
I think
cut his losses.
A combo of issues there.
So then, that's the first half of the season done, and that is the 2024 season of racing done in the ERC as well. We'll be back 8th of January for the Norris Ring, but before we sign off, we have 2 drivers that do want to talk to us. Shall we talk to the man we were just speaking about very briefly there, Connor Knight, who, of course, got into the top 5 in race 1, despite a bit of disappointment of race 2. So probably mixed emotions from Connor. Let's hear what he has to say.
It was quick.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right. Sorry, I was having a conversation. I do apologize. Sorry.
Yes.
Hello.
Anyway, XRL Esports' very own Connor Knight joins us now. Connor, a fantastic race 1. You played the strategy perfectly to get into the top 5, to beat the likes of Oliver Hargitay and Ballast Kiss, despite them pushing you very, very hard in the closing stages there. at your home circuit, that must be a fantastic result. Even though race 2, you had a great battle with Peter Schumann, but the result didn't quite go the way you wanted.
We'll ignore race 2.
All right.
Nah, race 1 was all right. I'm sort of better over the longer distances because I take time to sort of get my eye in, and sort of the pace comes to me towards like at the end of race 3. It sort of came back, so to say, or race 2, sorry, but yeah, it's sort of about 10 laps in, it sort of comes in. So,
is this your way of saying you don't practice that much, Connor? That you do
I literally come on for about an hour. Come on, have dinner, drive for an hour, and it might work out, it might not.
You fit very well into our team, Connor.
Yeah. Maybe next season.
Maybe. Well, the offer is there on the table. But yeah, race 1. In terms of the fuel, what did you decide to do in the end? Because I think you were one of the drivers that started on the mediums and then switched to the softs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I started on mediums. It felt like the right things to do at the time, and it was. I always overfuel by a lap, and I just overfueled the race distance by a lap, and it. Obviously, the Honda seemingly uses no fuel because I had 6 laps extra at the end. I was like, "Oh, that's nice." No, it was yeah, I just put as much as I needed and went from there.
Do you regret not putting less fuel in? Then? Is that why you say it was a good drive and not a great drive, even though it was your best result in EERC British Touring Cars to date?
Yeah. I mean, if I put a bit less fuel, I might have got further up. But no, it is what it is. So
we saw as well. Alan Axon did the undercut, pit on I think lap 2 or 3, and was able to get onto second place on the podium as well by undercutting everyone on those fresh medium tires. Was that ever a temptation for you, or to try and do that in reverse, especially with the extra fuel you had on board at the start?
No, absolutely not. It was too risky for me. I just thought I'd stick to my strategy, pit about like 13, 14, and sort of do the rest of the race on the softs, because the softs tend to die at sort of about lap 9, 10-ish. So I found it to be easy to go from just do 8 laps, borderline, gonna kill the tyres, just go hard and fast.
So prior to today, Connor, you had about 5 points. So you've probably more than doubled that, given that it was a double points top 5. So that's really, really good news for yourself, and of course for XRL Esports.
Yeah.
Of course, in a very, very tight championship battle. I think you're fighting with the likes of Bad Wolves Esport, Kistver Racing, Dalma, of course with James Knox, and Optiminal with Maxime Bullier as well. So hopefully, of course, if you get a few extra drivers, you might be giving us a bit of trouble, and Finn von Green as well in the battle to finish in the top 6, top 7 in the championship. But yeah, certainly a very mixed up season, and great to see you doing so well. Nick, do you have any questions for Connor before we let him go? Nick's clearly.
We got any lift music?
No, you're asking me a question there. Sorry. I don't think we don't have a soundboard in EERC Discord, so I can't play you any lift music or any audio other than what I can do with my mouth, which is not much apparently. But anyway, I gotta say, you're looking forward to 2025 and the Norris Ring, Connor?
Might win a race, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just going race by race, to be honest.
Practice more and more, there's every chance, yeah.
Maybe. Well, I'm in a practice for race 1 and I killed Nick, so yeah. No, I'm just gonna go race by race, see what happens. Might win a race, might not.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah, certainly Nick is rendered speechless at the moment, so we'll have to see. But thanks for talking to us, Connor. Well done,
worries, mate.
And have a good Happy New Year and a good seasonal, festive, holiday, Christmas period.
Whatever it is. Yeah, you too, mate. Have a good one.
Right, as we let Connor and I leave the commentary box, it looks like Thomas Raschke has got bored of waiting and decided to invite himself in from the Decade Fast Racing team. So, Thomas, I suppose it's a case of there was a P10 in race 1, wasn't there? But it's a case of so near yet so far, because there was that mistake that let Sanchez Pajot through, and ultimately that was the difference between you starting in 10th and you starting on reverse grid pole, and then race 2 There were some good fights, but it didn't quite go to plan either with another trip through the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. So obviously the Christmas car, all that Christmas spirit and magic in. I think I said at one point a little bit too much Christmas spirit for Thomas Raschke, and I'm not sure if you'd disagree with that or not.
Oh, I don't know. It's all a bit weird, especially in race 1. I tried to do the same strategy as I did in Silverstone last year with pitting early onto the softs and then having the major undercut, and it worked surprisingly well. And then at the end against Stanislas, I wouldn't have defended anyways. I would have just let him through. He is, at the end of the day, a bit of a teammate. And he was on the softer tires, so if that's normal to me to let him through in that situation. Even though it's outlawed by the regulations, but I do not care.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought we were your buddies too, but I guess the old allegiances don't matter anymore. I guess Stanislas' friendship with Underbird Simulation ended. My new friendship is with Stanislas Pachert.
Not really, I provide you all with setup, so I'm still in there. You know?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
My guys wouldn't be up to much without you, I suppose, but they seem to still be in looking at replays themselves and sort of wishing things went a bit better for them. But of course, Oliver ended with a podium, so I guess he won't be too upset to just miss out to Stanislas. But going back to yourself, how do you sum up that? Do you think there's anything different you could have done in race 1? For example, not go through the gravel trip?
For example, that would be point number 1, to just drive better. The pace was there, the strategy was there, but I just didn't execute. That's all it is. It's same for race 2.
Do you think the fuel was throwing people off? Because we heard, we were just talking to Connor in his Honda Civic. He said he had about 6 laps of fuel left at the end of the race because the Honda is one of the more fuel efficient cars, and he overestimated how much fuel he needed clearly to finish the race. Did you find it as the same issue?
Yeah. I was halfway through, I was looking through on my race, and it, with like 11 laps remaining, I looked and it still said like 16 laps remaining or something. I've really overdone the fuel on this one. But rather that than run out of fuel and be there on the last couple laps. I don't want that to happen either.
Yeah. So Independence Championship, Alan Axon got second, of course, with really executed strategy in the first race. But I think you beat Alan in. Oh no, you didn't in race 2. Did
no,
you?
I didn't.
Race 2 was horrible. Okay, so yeah, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. It's the only championship you got a chance to win, and it's not looking great at this phase. With him about 40 points ahead of you, but I suppose no reason to give up, and you're still, I think, in the top 15 in the Drivers' Championship as well, which makes it you're ahead of quite a few of my drivers, I think, at this point.
Well, if you quickly give me a second, I can tell you the standings quite exactly.
Well, of course, we're yet to see any penalties apply. There was quite a bit of contact in both races. So
yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if I get a penalty for my race 1 shenanigans.
And as for race 2, was the moment where race 2 fell apart just where you went wide at Hawthorne's, the fast right-hander, and just got digged into the gravel and straight into the wall? Or did it go wrong before then?
Nah, I was running quite good in P8 or 7 or whatever it was.
Weren't you behind Connor?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was comfortably keeping up with them. I had Peter behind me, who I built a little bit of a gap, then he gained it back. It was all kind of difficult. But other than that, it was quite a good race.
Yeah, I think also Ten Lure made a very similar mistake to what you did, and then immediately got through everyone that he lost positions to quite quickly at the end of the race. So he did at least get into the top 13, but he probably could have got a top 10 if that hadn't happened. But I guess you can say much the same thing. So it's not just you suffering, Thomas, if there's any consolation.
Yeah. But just now for the standings, Balázs Kiss stays in first right now with 169 points, with Tim Neuendorf in second with 140. So it will be quite interesting in the next couple of races.
Bear in mind that Neuendorf missed a race.
Oh, true.
For sure.
So he's already essentially got his drop score removed from his total because he's done one less race. Kiss hasn't missed a race, so he'll still have his lowest score to come off that. So it's closer than it seems.
And it's just like Formula One in the 1980s, with the 11 best results being the only ones that count, or whatever it was at that time.
Well, if you exclude his worst round for Balázs Kiss was the first one in Silverstone, where he just got 26 points. If you exclude them, they are exactly on the same amount of points.
Oh, fascinating. That really sets things up nicely for the second half of the season. But yeah, so I was just thinking to myself, Balázs Kiss is going to be like Alan Prost saying that I scored more points, but because I had to drop a score, I'm going to lose the championship. This is nonsense. This is all your fault, Nick Homewood.
Sorry.
And he might blame me too as well, just because I'm there.
Yeah, for sure.
But Thomas,
And
Thomas, what are you looking forward to second half of the season? Norris Ring, Donington Park, Mid-Ohio, Salzburg Ring.
yeah, obviously the Norris Ring, I have to say that. My home race. The track is like 45 minutes away from me, and I'm extremely hyped for it.
And it's one of the first street tracks we've used in ERC British Touring Cars as well.
Because it went so well last time.
Yeah, I'm still to this day surprised that you actually put it in, Nick, because I was thinking like you surely wouldn't put it in just for the pure
Well,
chaos.
it's a lot wider than Long Beach.
Long Beach was fun, though.
Long Beach, though.
But he had a
Long
lot of
Beach.
convincing arguments.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait until the new year for that. So, with nobody else wanting to interview us, or be interviewed by us, I should say, I have to say thanks for coming in, Thomas. Well done on your top 10. And I think that top 10 was near enough your best result this season. I think you might have got a 9th.
Nope.
Was it at Zandvoort?
Nope. I got 10th in the third race of Brands Hatch Indy.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I got
That was
10th
it.
today, but this 10th place, if I will keep it, then I need to be really happy. Because I've done quite a lot of lap 1 shenanigans, which, looking at you, Cully, you will penalize the shit out of me.
We apologise. It has just gone past the watershed in the UK, so I guess we can swear up a storm legally now, but still, it's just bad form. But if you said that 6 minutes ago, Thomas, we could have gotten in real trouble. But anyway, yeah, I guess we're not subject to broadcast standards.
I'd also
here,
like
or-
to point out that as soon as the racing stopped, I don't live far from Brands Hatch, and it's like a monsoon out there. So once again, we've dodged the rain somehow.
Yeah, sadly.
Merry Christmas, everyone. But there we go then. So I have to say my thanks to Pascal Eggert for his wonderful broadcast direction and replays. My thanks to Nick Homewood for joining me in the commentary box and being on standby to use the safety car that in the end was not needed, unlike at Brands Hatch Indy last week. Thanks as well to Nick Homewood and all the teams and drivers for putting on a fantastic show for us for this first half of the season. I'm sure the second half is going to be just as entertaining, with loads and loads of different winners for different car manufacturers, different teams, and different drivers. But it is certainly Balázs Kiss and Tim Neuendorf, the two standouts to watch from today, and the two winners from today, it must be said as well. And I've been Ed Hunter. Thank you very much for listening and watching at the EERC British Touring Cars. And thank you very much for watching EERC in 2024. We'll be back for 2025. But until then, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And